It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday, powered by KSLSports.com and sponsored by Any Hour Services, Electric, Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Mitch, it's a big game for BYU and this BYU defense as far as shutting down, Cincinnati's quarterback. Brendan Sorsby has been effective this season, throwing for over 2,200 yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. What do you think will be the biggest factor for BYU's defense in shutting down Sorsby?
They got to limit his ability to run the football. They cannot let Sorsby go off on the ground. He's one of the leading rushers for Cincinnati this year. He's second in rushing for the Bearcats this season behind Tawi Walker. He's even got more rushing yards than Evan Pryor, the talented running back who returns this week, former Ohio State Buckeyes. So containing Sorsby on the ground, and again, there's questions about his ankle. How injured is he? Because last week against Arizona, he entered the medical tent. But just limit that if you're BYU's defense. And BYU's defense, Kyle, at times has been prone to giving up yards on the ground to teams in Big 12 play. Non-conference, they were elite. Last week, though, was a return back to that elite status against TCU. They got to follow it up again against a Cincy team that prides itself on running the football. And a guy that can maybe help that cause in a much more impactful way than maybe you would have thought a month ago, that's former Texas transfer Tausili Akana, a heralded 4-star recruit out of high school at Skyridge High School, was a guy that was making an impact in spring ball and fall camp, but still learning the ropes of Jay Hill's defense. Well, now his time has arrived as he is surging in his BYU career. First season with the Cougars. I caught up with redshirt sophomore Tausili Akana earlier this week to talk about this matchup against Cincinnati and his recent success in BYU's defense.
Tausili, how did it feel to have that performance that you did this past week against TCU?
It felt good just being out there with the team and the boys and just executing and trusting our coaches.
Do you think that was the best performance you've had since you got here to BYU?
Yes, most definitely.
What do you think's worked so well in recent weeks as your snap counts are increasing and now you're having a greater impact on the defense? What's caused that change?
I'd pretty much just say stacking the days and just taking it day by day, but also just like what I said kind of before is just like trusting the coaches and falling in line with what they have for us.
When you were coming out of the portal, how much of that trust in the coaches played a role in you coming to BYU from Texas?
It played a big part. Jay Hill and Coach Papingo were coaching me since, or not coaching me, but recruiting me since the start. So, I already had a kind of idea of where I wanted to come, and just that trust that we had, that bond,
When you say since the start, was that dating back to your high school time when they were recruiting you too? Can you
yes, sir.
Take us through your connections that you had to this BYU staff even when you were a high school player?
Oh, yes, sir. Pop, he was, he recruited me since Boise and Virginia. So, I kind of had a bond with him already. So, it was good that he was already here in Utah, a.k.a. home for me. So, yep.
What's been your experience so far here at BYU? First year, you arrived in the winter semester to now. How's it been going?
I'm loving it. The culture here and it's just the boys, really just like a big family vibe. So I'm loving it here.
Was it difficult when you left Texas? Was that a challenging deal because coming out of Skyridge, heralded recruit, was it difficult to go into the portal and get a change of scenery?
Most definitely. Not everybody wants to leave a place that you started off and, built bonds over there. So, but it was hard. But, I know coming back here, I got family here, got all the boys out here that I know. So I felt comfortable with the decision.
And so who were some of those relationships beyond the coaches that you made you feel comfortable about this move?
Most definitely my cousin Jaren Kalama, and then you got like Raider Damuni, Ace Kafusi, just all the guys from back home in Hawaii, Laia. So we all grew up together. So, they were all texting me too, like, hey, time to come home, come ball with us. So
What's been the most enjoyable aspect of being part of this culture that Kalani's built here at BYU?
Probably just the aspects of just love and learn, just loving one another and learning and step day by day and just taking it all in.
When you feel like you're at your best as a player, how would you describe that to someone who's still kind of getting familiar with your game?
Probably say relentless. Yeah. Just going to the ball as fast as I can, trying to make a play.
And how great was that feeling to have those moments last week against TCU?
Felt great. I felt like I'm finally becoming the person I'm supposed to be and being disruptive in the backfield. So, yes, sir.
How challenging is it to learn Jay Hill's defense?
It's definitely challenging, new to me, but I'm loving it because, it's also going to get us ready for the next level or what we have ahead.
And coming up ahead is Cincinnati. Your thoughts on their offense? What stands out to you with the Bearcats?
Definitely the QB, the running backs, they're very dynamic, very good. QB's good. He got some good reads, so and the O-line's pretty good, so hopefully we get some pass rush in there and disrupt them.
How much do you enjoy these road trips? 2 time zones, so that means a little bit earlier where you guys leave on a Thursday. How much do you enjoy that?
It's enjoyable, but kind of difficult at the same time. You gotta adjust everything, your sleep and everything, but it's fun though. Hey, just being out with the boys and stuff. There to Thursday, so.
Who's your roommate on the road?
On the road is Kenny Lau.
Oh, cool. So Kenny Lau's another guy that's making an impact too, and there's a lot of young, talented, along with yourself, Kenny Lau, a lot of young, talented defensive ends in this group. Could maybe just speak to some of those guys that are really progressing over the course of the season?
Yes, sir. Just me and Kenny, when we're in our room, we always, just look at each other and be like, hey, let's go, time to watch some film, or just call out some stuff while we're watching film. So it's good to have him as a roommate and just have him on the mental side.
How, just last couple things here for you, Tausili, excited is this team to have everything in front of this group that you guys maybe set out to achieve this season? Still a lot of football left to be played, but just how excited are you guys to be in these big stages every single week?
It's very exciting, but like I said, we're stacking days, taking it week by week. So, yes, sir.
And that's BYU defensive end Tausili Akana here on Cougar Sports Saturday as we count down to BYU and Cincinnati. Kyle, your thoughts on the impact that Akana provided last week and maybe the outlook on him going forward in the future, because he's still got 2 years ahead in his college football career.
Yeah, I like the fact that he has made such an impact at key moments for this BYU defense this season, coming up with big stops and being able to shut down, runs. He's been able to get to the quarterback, cause some havoc, some hurries, force some interceptions. It's been big for Jay Hill's defense, and I like the fact that he's still coming on, and it's not like he's, in his last year with the program and, he's going to be done here in the next month. It's going to be, fun to see him continue to grow in this system with Jay Hill. And I think that today, Mitch, it's a balanced attack from Cincinnati that BYU's defense is going to have to stop, because 24 touchdowns through the air, 19 on the ground, a pretty similar ratio as far as, passing to rushing, nearly 2,000 yards on the ground and, just over 2,300 yards through the air this season for the Bearcats. And so they're pretty efficient on both sides of their offense there. And Tausili and the rest of that front seven is going to have to be able to stop Sorsby. They're going to have to stop Walker. They're going to have to stop Evan Pryor, who's back from injury. They're going to have to be able to limit this Bearcat offense. I do think that the one thing that has been really effective for BYU this season and Jay Hill is whenever they've been able to make the opposing offense one-dimensional, Mitch, they've found great success. And so whether that's shutting down the passing attack and just locking in on the run or vice versa, if BYU is able to do that today, they're going to find success.
Yeah, BYU is, trending up, I think, again, defensively after that great performance against TCU. And honestly, I thought they showed well in stretches against Texas Tech. It was just the offense was a complete no-show, and so was the special teams. The defense couldn't carry the day completely, but I would not ever bet against a Jay Hill defense in preparing for a big game. These guys will show up, and it's nice to know that Tausili Akana is factoring into that mix, because when you talk about first step, athleticism, speed, He is an elite pass rusher. Now he's understanding the nuances of Jay Hill's defense. Bright future ahead for Tausili Akana. Let's take a break as the sun is breaking free here in gloomy Cincinnati. It's been a dreary week here in Cincy, but now the sun is breaking through, so it should be a great day for football here in Cincinnati as we count down to BYU and the Bearcats here on KSL News Radio.